Episode of the Brown Water Banter podcast. My name is Jared Seymour.
My name is Joey Cates.
It is Joey Cates, and we got a good show for you lined up, man. We have another one of our sponsored episodes with the Department of Marine Resources. We have Rhonda in the studio this evening. We're going to be talking about a special office inside of the Department of Marine Resources, the Coastal Restoration and Resilience Office. Right. Oh, I nailed it. I'm so happy when I get it right because I don't always mess them up. But before we do that, before we jump into it, we're going to thank the people that keep the lights on for us over here at the Brown Water Studio right out of the gate. We're about to year-end wrap up, but 2024 is still the year to smile more. Right here, boom, Dr. Robbie Williams with Southern Magnolia Smiles, man. If you're looking for a great local dentist, hit them up on the socials at Southern Magnolia Smiles. They're located on Washington Avenue right over here in Ocean Springs. So when you're ready to book that consultation, just give them a call at 228-215-1202 and tell them that Brown Water sent you. Let me see here. Right up, coming up next in the list, Taylor & Cox Law Firm. If you find yourself in need of legal representation for any reason, Taylor & Cox Law Firm has been practicing law on the Gulf Coast for 30 years. So our buddy Tyler right here in the photo, they specialize in felonies, misdemeanors, DUI, family law, divorce, child custody. If you need someone to fight tooth and nail for you, man, Taylor & Cox Law Firm, you can look them up on the social medias as well, or you can give them a call at 228-696-0111. I think we mentioned it on the last episode, man. You've blown that 24 New Year's resolution completely out of the water at this point.
Just hang it up and wait till next year.
But if you'd like to get ahead of 2025 in January 1, you can start right now by booking a consultation with Forever Young Men and Women's Health. Let Kendrick go over your lab work, man. They'll draw some blood on you all in-house. They'll take a look, see if you're vitamin deficient in any way, see if you need some hormone replacement. They blend medicine and exercise to get you optimized to getting back in the gym and feeling better. Like I say, they specialize in testosterone replacement for both men and women. So if you and your lady friend would like to get healthy in the new year, give them a shout at 228-363-6623. We just hung out with Kendrick just a couple of nights ago, man. We went out and had dinner. Looking forward to working with him again in 2025. And he's super excited, man. We're going to get him back on the show and talk about some of the new things that he's doing. It's a great business. If you haven't checked him out, go do it. And bringing up the rear here, Joey's going to have to help me with the dates, but this is our partnership like we do every year with the Biloxi Boat Show. It's going to be at the Mississippi Coliseum again, I believe February
14th through 16th.
There you go.
Valentine's Day.
Okay, cool. So if you want to come hang out with us, we're going to be there like we always are with our booth set up. Probably going to do some speakers again this year, Joe.
Yeah, going to do the little live seminars again, and probably going to have a show from the Coliseum like we did last year. So
yeah. So
waiting all that to come through.
A lot of cool stuff. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Go look them up on social media as well. They have a Facebook page. So it's going to be a good time. If you're watching right now on the live stream, don't hesitate to share this out. Here, smash that share button and help us spread the word. So Department of Marine Resources, Offices of Coastal Restoration and Resilience. Joey and I were both talking before we went live. We're going to learn a lot on this one too.
Absolutely.
Part of our favorite thing about doing these DMR shows is that we've been learning a lot. All the different departments that are inside of the DMR umbrella and the individual responsibilities, I guess you could say, that they have between finfish and crabs and all the oyster farming and all that different stuff. So if you could please introduce yourself to the audience, and then could you just tell us real quickly, like how, what your office entails and what y'all do?
Sure. Well, I'm Rhonda Price. I'm the director for the Office of Coastal Restoration and Resilience. And it's a relatively new office. Well, I guess it's 2024. So we were established in 2014.
That's right. That's right. I did read that.
So we've been around for a little bit. And really, I hate to say, but a lot of my old programs just became the office.
Okay.
So we have Sport Fish that looks at the infrastructure, like the marinas and harbors around boat access and boating infrastructure and pump outs. And then we have the resilience part. So we're part of the Gulf of Mexico Alliance, and I chair the resilience team, and Andrew Barrett is our coordinator for that team. So we work with communities a lot in building resilience and working with them on doing a lot of assessments and business continuity planning and clean and resilient marinas and stuff like that. The large part is the Coast National Heritage Area. So December 8th of this year, we just celebrated our 20th anniversary. National Heritage Areas are congressionally designated So in 2004, the 6 coastal counties was designated as part of the National Heritage Area, and it's a program underneath the National Park Service.
Okay.
So that's where our funding comes from, and a lot of our technical assistance that we get is through the National Park Service.
So all the coastal counties, is that what you said?
The 6 coastal counties:
Okay.
Pearl
So
River, Stone, George, Harrison, Hancock, and Jackson.
is that because of the age of them, like when they were founded? They're so
No.
old. Does that have anything to do with it?
No,
Okay.
no. The state actually has 3 heritage areas. So there's the Delta, which is a lot more counties, and then there's the Hills, and that takes in all of the Hills counties.
Okay.
And then just that lower part of the 6 coastal counties is a heritage area. So there's the Delta, Hills, and the coast. The only area that is not a heritage area is that Pine.
Oh,
Belt
Hattiesburg?
area.
Oh, they're gonna be
Hattiesburg.
pissed.
Yeah,
They're gonna be pissed.
mad. They're gonna be
Yeah,
mad.
they're gonna be mad. What designates it as such? Is there requirements? Is there any?
Yeah, it's really a long, drawn out process. Takes a couple of years to get the designation. You have to have a sponsorship through your congressman and your senators. But really, you have to have that significant culture and heritage of your area that really, goes back centuries and has been really vital in making, the coast what it is.
Right.
And then it has to be wrapped in that significant natural landscape, which,
Yeah.
that was easy.
Yeah.
That
We had that one
that
right
was
off the
the
bat.
easy one. Yeah. And when we were designated back in 2004, the focus was really around, a lot of people will ask, how does the DMR get into the heritage business?
Right.
Well, it seemed like a natural fit because the DMR had always worked with commercial fishing, and then we have our coastal programs that work with our wetlands and estuaries. So we looked at the heritage around coastal fishing, the commercial fishing,
Right.
and recreational fishing. That's kind of what built the coast.
Right.
Yeah, the
And
seafood
when
capital of the
seafood-
world at one time.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. So with the cultural and heritage, we look at not just the history of fishing, but also the people. We look at the cultural people that came in, and with them came their food, their traditions, their festivals,
Right.
their boats. So a lot of timber that was around the area were used in making these wooden boats. So the coast also had a very robust timber industry,
Right.
and a lot of that timber went into our commercial fleet.
Yeah, those wooden boats are awesome. They have the wooden boat show every year. Unfortunately, that shrimper that just recently, that was one of the oldest shrimp boats.
Yeah, 20s,
still,
from the 20s, I think.
That was an old wooden boat, and they're beautiful. Now they're terrible to keep up with. I could imagine having a wooden boat in salt water, but they're beautiful boats for sure.
Yeah, the first sponsor, the Southern Magnolia Smiles Dentistry, that's a friend of ours we grew up with, known him our whole life. His great grandfather was Jack Kovacevic, who built all the boats in downtown Biloxi. So we're familiar with that for sure.
Yeah, it's a lost art. The boat building.
Yeah, and there was a lot of it that went on around here too.
Oh yeah,
locally. So what you said, you kind of were operating outside of this office before it existed, doing these types of projects. Were you in another office, and they were like, "Hey, you got so much going on. Maybe you deserve your own."
Well, I've had a sordid history.
Okay.
So I think I've been in every office that the DMR has ever.
How long have you been
had,
with the DMR in total?
I came to the DMR in July of 1997.
So you've been there for a while.
I was there when they were over at 52 Gateway.
Okay.
Before they even got to the Bolton building.
Right.
So I started over there at 52 Gateway, and then we moved into the Bolton building.
Post Katrina, right?
We were there right around 98.
Before Katrina. That's right. That's right. Y'all were there.
Yeah. We were there before anybody else. I mean, the sixth floor hadn't even been finished yet.
Okay.
So we were brand new. Mr. Glade Woods was our director at the time, and I had worked with him previously when I was with NASA. And then after I left there, and kind of played around for a couple of years as a flight attendant.
Okay.
That's cool.
What did you do at NASA?
Well, I started out on the test stands and then switched over to earth science division. So I was more into remote sensing and GIS, looking for Mayan pyramids and that type
Are
of
you
stuff.
serious?
Sweet.
That's like my whole YouTube algorithm.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to have you back just for that. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. You're coming back.
Stay on task.
Yeah,
Stay on
yeah, yeah.
task.
Stay on. We're going to do the DMR thing, but we're talking after this.
Yeah,
You're coming back. We're talking about that.
Yeah.
That's
And
pretty wild.
Then I was Bob Dole's flight attendant when he was running for president.
Okay.
So did all of that and did the Miami scene. And so my daddy told me I had to grow up.
Yeah.
Grow up, get a real job.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then Mr. Woods, he was wanting to start up a remote sensing and GIS department with the DMR. They had just broken off a couple of years prior. They were the Bureau of Marine Resources.
Right, BMR, yeah.
Yeah. And then they became, their full agency.
The DMR did a remote sensing thing? Is that what you said?
When I was hired on in 97, Mr. Woods wanted to create a remote sensing and GIS office.
There you go.
I'm super confused now. That's awesome, though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, what's some of the things that y'all are like focused on right now? Big topic items like inside of your department currently.
Well, let's see. If we start program by program for our sport fish, we just finished up hosting U.S. Fish and Wildlife's boating infrastructure evaluation for their tier 2 projects. And that was really interesting. So we got to see kind of the ins and outs, how they evaluate a lot of these boating grants, proposals that are submitted. And then we went on some site visits. Bay St. Louis Harbor is one of our tier 1 projects that we have. Bayou LaCroix was one of our boat access projects, and that was actually an award winner. We won a state's organization for boat access best state project in 2023. And then we went over to Captain Al's, and they just finished up a pump out. So we, showed them the pump out.
Yeah.
And we right now have a request for application through the Gulf of Mexico Alliance for a clean and resilient marinas. So if you're a marina and you're wanting to get certified as clean and resilient, we have a request for application that's on the Gulf of Mexico Alliance website.
That camera's blinking. I don't know. Is that cable okay?
Yeah.
So if I'm a marina owner, I come to you and fill out that application that you're talking about. What does it do for me, and what are y'all looking for when I fill out the application?
Sure. Well, a lot of recreational boaters, and especially if they're transient and coming through, they like to know that they're coming to a clean and resilient marina.
Okay.
Clean bathrooms, clean docks. They manage their oil and gas.
Right.
Not dumping it in
environmentally. Yeah. And then the resilient part, I always use Bay St. Louis as an example, because their harbor master office can be trailered out.
Right.
So that's that. Yeah. So that's the storm. And they've done it. They've done it before, and that includes their pedestals. And so I think each one of those pedestals, like, $1,500. So if you can save all your pedestals and send them inland, that's a little cost savings.
Yeah, that's I know a lot of the tackle shops, like the one in
Mr. Kinney. Gosh dang, what's the one in Biloxi? I can't even think of it right now.
By Gornflows.
Gornflows, Gornflows does, and Mr. Kinney, they both on trailers that you can just
like FEMA cottages,
hook up to and roll out.
And I'm sure insurance purposes as well for all that stuff, because otherwise it'd have to be just like at your property.
It'd have to be 20 foot in the air.
20 foot in the air. If not,
you couldn't do that.
Exactly.
So.
And Pass Christian Harbor has their bathrooms that they can trailer out. So, anything that you can trailer out before a storm is
better.
And so to apply for that and then get it, that's all through your office. And for the marina's sake, that's like a, something like a badge of honor that they can promote and market as such, and that helps them attract customers. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. And some insurance, they could use it to get a discount if that's what they're, they'd have checked with their insurance agent to see if they would offer a discount. But there, some insurances that offer that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I like it. And then what about so that's the marinas.
That's the marinas. And then the other is our resilience part of our office. And so we partner with Mississippi Alabama Sea Grant on a lot of our outreach education that we do around resilience. So we can go into cities or counties and help them walk through a resilience index assessment. So basically what that is, it's like, 10 sections, and it covers scenarios. You can take the worst storm that you had, or tornado or flood, and it just kind of walks them through scenarios, whether that be their critical infrastructure, their business, planning. And then after the event, they can go in and look and see, well, maybe we need to do this different. Maybe we need to update our stormwater management plan. Maybe we need a vulnerability assessment, flooding. So it allows the city or the county to kind of take that in-depth look, and it brings a lot of them together. So that could be your mayor, your city council, but a lot of it is really your planning and works department that will get their floodplain managers that can have a conversation.
There's a lot of stuff that goes into like that kind of stuff that you wouldn't even
think that would fall under
not at all.
And any of that stuff. It's weird.
And so the other part of that, there's a tourism index, a fisheries index, an aquaculture index. So there's several indices that have been created based off of this one resilience index assessment. And then the other is our coastal homeowners handbook. We've recently moved from the actual handbook into a mobile app. So that just allows homeowners to really take a look at their home and maybe make some upgrades. And then it also covers, parts of insurance and what to do before, during, and after a storm.
Oh, that would be extremely helpful. I worked after Katrina through the Mississippi Development Authority, trying to help people process their insurance, or was it for the federal grant money associated with Katrina? So that was probably 2005, early six-ish. And it was a lot of people didn't know what to do. They didn't know what money was out there. They didn't know how to get it. They didn't know how to, where to fill the stuff out. People were still kind of getting used to the internet. As weird as that sounds to say. So they came in and we would scan all their documents, burn it on a CD drive, and then help them mail it out. So an app now, that goes into like, was it like prep also, like what you need for the storm?
Yeah, it actually, and we did that for the 5 Gulf states. So the Gulf of Mexico Alliance covers the 5 Gulf states. And so we work regionally on, for our resilience projects. And some of the books are, if you actually have the book, you can tear out the section. It's kind of like a shopping list, and you can take it with you and just kind of mark off.
That's convenient.
But with the mobile app, everybody now is using their phones. So they can go in and basically just kind of make a shopping list. And then when they go to their local hardware store, they can get what they need.
Yeah, and that's probably helpful too for people that are not born and raised here.
Well, because if you never evacuated from a hurricane, you don't know what to bring.
Or stayed for a hurricane. Or you're not from here, you're first generation, or moved from, whatever. It's like, you can obviously ask your neighbors, but to have an app on your phone that can help you out. Look, just like keeping the bathtub full of water, so you can flush toilets and stuff like that is handy.
Always put the penny in the freezer on ice, so if it melted or not. So if all your food goes bad, and the power goes out, and then it freezes back up, the penny's still at the bottom of the cup.
That's a good one. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, man.
Smart.
He
didn't come up with that.
No, I didn't come up with that. Absolutely
We'll put that in the mobile version.
Yeah, right. The Joey Penny trick.
That's right.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I dig it. So the resilience part, and then the homeowners. So y'all cover a lot of different stuff.
We do, and we've just recently finished up a project with Smart Home America and the Gulf Coast Design Studio on a resilient housing guide. So that also, housing is really difficult sometimes after a major storm.
Yeah.
Where when people have lost their homes or they've been put out of their homes just for a little bit until they can make, some improvements to get back into the home. And so this also helps the community, whether that be, city, county, look at their housing needs. And so they can go in and evaluate, do they have vulnerable housing next to a critical infrastructure, or is it in a floodplain? Or, and that could be used in future development as well, to look at, where housing would be best suited to stay out of the flood.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Another Katrina though, I think.
Yeah, and then you'd have to redo the whole thing again.
Yeah.
And then there's the fortified aspect. So partnering with Smart Home America
on how to build houses.
How to build how to build fortified.
Yeah.
I'm sure y'all do bulkhead. Y'all do the bulkheads and piers and all that as well, right? Correct?
Yeah, that's more for upstairs.
Right.
Coastal Resource will permit those bulkheads and promoting the living shorelines, alternate bulkheads.
Yeah.
And I know Eric Sparks with Mississippi State's really into this alternative bulkhead of doing away with the hard structures and looking at more of a native vegetation.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think we talked a little bit about that.
Okay.
Like turning, instead of just doing your basic concrete, whatever, rubble is what they call it, I guess. It's turn it into like a marsh area or something like that.
Do you mean like for like a marina or a harbor when you see like a rock entry, like Ocean Springs? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
not like a wooden bulkhead on your private
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, they have that in front of Ocean Springs.
Right.
So that's cool. People, you have your own Facebook page. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We do, and that is the other big program that we have within the office, and that's the Coast National Heritage Area.
Okay, I'm going to drop a link while you're describing what this is all about for us.
Yeah, and that is the congressionally designated 6 coastal counties that we are really funded through the National Park Service. So that program, we work with cities and counties and the public in helping with them with their National Register if they want a National Register nomination. And that's just a historic certification that we go through and work with Department of Archives and History and the Park Service. And once they get that designation, then they can apply for grants that come up through the National Park Service.
Now, is that the same thing when you're talking about like the heritage stuff, when you go through Biloxi and you see one of the homes that's designated as a historic home? Is that the same thing or different, but kind of similar?
It could be.
Okay.
It could be.
The plaques on the houses, you know what I'm talking
about? The plaques on the houses could be the plaques, the historical markers that the city has designated, and then there could be some plaques for National Register.
Okay, so 2 different kind of bodies that certify that.
Yeah, because then there's also the Mississippi Landmark as well, and that's just another, application that you fill out and work with Archives and History on. And then we have a community grant that we give every year. So we function underneath a management plan that we had to submit and get approved by the Secretary of Interior when we became designated. So that's kind of what we work towards, is fulfilling that management plan. And we found the easiest way to do that is through our community grants. So every year we try to grant a couple of $100,000 to, we've given to the moving the Camille Memorial from where it was over to the Maritime Museum. We have now Mississippi State Television is working on a Vietnamese documentary about the commercial fishing fishermen that came over. The Shaw property that's up in Pearl River County. So we have some restoration properties as well that we've been working on. We have the Charlie Norwood, which is a Louis Sullivan, Frank Lloyd Wright house that we manage over in Ocean Springs. There's oil fields over in Gaucher that we helped re-roof. That was a Walter Anderson home.
Okay. After that tornado you're talking about? Did you say re-roof?
Yeah, well, it was actually damaged during Katrina.
Oh, okay.
So it's been sitting there all this time. And Mississippi Heritage Trust acquired the home and applied for one of our community grants just to kind of stabilize the roof. Because if you lose a roof on a home, everything else is pretty vulnerable. So we helped keep the roof on, and they're just going to determine, what they're going to do with the home.
It sounds like y'all do like a lot of liaison between certain businesses or whatever, but like federal grants and stuff like that.
Yeah, and National Heritage Area is really, it's known for their collaboration and partnership. We're there to tell the 6 coastal counties stories. Mm-hmm. And so in order to do that, we do have to partner and collaborate on a lot of projects in order to do that. We have Embrace Your Cultural Story, which is our started out as newsletter, but after so many pages, you kind of have to call it a magazine.
Yeah.
So that's really the easiest way that we found in order to tell the cultural and historical and that natural landscape, all those stories is in a quarterly publication.
So I mean, you can go back and look like old school stuff in these magazines. Y'all have like a big, just vast library of stuff that y'all put in there.
Yeah. And people will love to either email or call and say, hey, what about this? Or, we would love to write a story. It's great for us because we have a lot of people who just send us stories. Mm-hmm. And so we have a lot of collaboration with people sending in stories, and that could be from boat building to, our oyster reefs. I think we've had a couple of articles on those. And it even goes as far as Mardi Gras. And 100 Men Hall that's over in Bay St. Louis. So
now, this is a publication, you said? This is a magazine? Where can we get this magazine?
Yeah. It's on our website.
So it's digital?
It can, yes. There is a digital. There may even be on our Facebook. We usually put out a link. We should have our 20th edition, our 20th anniversary edition that should be coming out. We're just waiting for approval, I think, right now. But we did have a fall that came out, I think, in October.
Okay.
September,
so
October.
Is it a monthly publication?
It's quarterly.
Quarterly. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's pretty cool. I'd love to check that out. It reminds me kind of a lot of Facebook groups around here. There's probably 3 or 4 of them that I can think of.
Remember in Mississippi.
Growing up or whatever. Stuff. Yeah. And it's, a few thousand people in there. And then everybody just kind of, it's like having access to everybody's photo album from the past.
Yes.
If they choose to share. And you see a lot of cool stuff from, way back in the day to the 70s to the, the 20s to, whenever.
Well, it's a good record to have too. Of course, most people lost, most of the older generation lost most of their pictures in Katrina.
Right.
And the ones that did survive, this is not a bad thing. Most older people aren't tech savvy enough to get online and, pull up a Facebook group so you can print it out, give it to your grandpa or aunt or something like that. They'd be like, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. I just love seeing the opening of the original, Ocean Springs Biloxi Bridge or the what's the I-10 bridge now, but it was the Diablo, whatever that one was, originally called. Like all these old bridges, 2 lanes, right before that, Pops Ferry was an actual ferry. Before that, you know what I mean? It's cool to see that stuff, the heritage side of it.
Oh yeah, and we actually had a article that can't remember what the name of the article was, but it was on a specific old boat, and they had a picture, and it was boat builders, and they called the boat something. I can't remember what it was, but the person who was involved with the boat called up and was like, that picture has been misidentified. That is not the right boat.
Right.
And of course, the girl that put so much passion and work into the magazine, Roxanne Wicker, she called me up and she was just beside herself.
Yeah.
What do we do? And I was like, we say thank you.
Right. Yeah.
Because this is why we're doing what we're doing, because that picture had been misidentified for decades.
Yeah.
And so we published it, and now it's been correctly identified. And so I like to think that that's why we do what we do.
That's right. Yeah, that person was like, they probably knew the original story, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, no, this ain't right.
Well, my mom got big into the cemetery thing.
Yeah.
And because there's cemeteries and so many of them got, especially on the water, got destroyed, or the headstones aren't there or any of that stuff. And it's impossible to know what's laying there unless you have an archive of that. And she called somebody, I don't know if it was y'all or somebody, and somebody had an archive of it, mapped everything out, and she knew where they were from there. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
We've done a lot with the cemeteries as well. Juan Cuevas, his family had relatives approached us, and we restored his tomb that's over in the Biloxi Cemetery. So that was really quite interesting. How they go in and basically take it all down, but they build it back up and build it stronger to last. So it was real fun to see.
That reminds me of I think it's the Biloxi Bay Area Chamber of Commerce. They do the cemetery tours. I think it's around Halloween. If I remember. And they kind of reenact and all that. Yeah, that's a great thing there.
Yeah. It's great for the community. They can get school theater groups to come in and be characters that and just kind of relive and bring these people, back to life for just an evening.
It was cool for me because, my last name is Seymour. So one of the characters that was in one of the years that they did that was the first Seymour here. And it was cool to see what his name was in French. And then he changed it once he got here to Seymour, and he's buried right over there in the Biloxi Cemetery.
Yeah. One project that I did a couple of years ago, which was right across from there. You may have noticed the big weeping angel for the Biloxi Visitor Center, and that's the French Colonial Cemetery.
Okay.
So that property was bought after Katrina through our Coastal Impact Assistance Program, which is just a grant program that bought some properties. So we bought that property, the Moran site, and we had Dr. Marie Danforth, who is a physical anthropologist with USM, come in and bring her group in and actually excavated the rest of the bodies that were there. There were 32 and some that were excavated. And if you ever are familiar with the old Moran site with the house that had the body there that was underneath the plexiglass that people could go in and see, but all of that was destroyed after Katrina. And so Dr. Danforth came in with her team and excavated the site and removed the remaining remains that were there, and determined that they were French indentured servants that came in around the mid early 1700s. So some of the and because of that became the oldest French colonial cemetery in the South.
Wow.
And second in the nation. So we decided that, we couldn't just leave them in a locker.
Yeah.
So, but it's kind of weird too when the Department of Marine Resources is calling funeral homes and asking them, can we get a coffin?
Yeah. They're like,
they're thinking this is, some fruitcake.
Right. Yeah.
But
date of birth 1700.
Unknown, parts unknown.
Exactly. So I was starting to panic a little bit because I was like, nobody's taking me seriously. And I got a hold of David Reeman with Reeman Funeral Home.
Right.
And he didn't. He jumped right in. He was like, oh, this is so neat.
Oh, yeah.
And so I explained to him what I was looking for and what we needed to do. And I mean, God love him. He went right up there and he said, we got to bring them home. So he went up there and retrieved them. And we kind of planned a big French funeral.
Yeah.
And so we had the bishop and the French consul and the 1699 and Knights of Columbus. And so Father Mike helped me, kind of create this whole ceremony for them. And we reburied them right there on spot, and worked over with David again. I knew exactly what I wanted and what needed to be there. So then we worked on the weeping angel that is there now.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And the spooky story, it's supposed to be a rose garden that's inspired by Versailles, and on the north, I guess, east quadrant of roses, where the majority of the bodies were found, nothing grows there.
Oh, that is a little weird.
You got to wipe your feet. I'm telling you, you got to wipe your feet when you get out of them graveyards, man. Spooky stuff.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I do it all the time.
Okay. That's never heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do y'all work with local historic? Like I know D'Iberville just has theirs where they bring out the old buildings of D'Iberville and they make miniature things of them. I'm sure y'all link up with them as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We work a lot with the local historical societies. We have some great ones on the coast. So if anybody's looking to get into genealogy or learn about, their area, I would start with a historical society because we have some great ones.
Yeah. That is one of the things that's cool about, the coast specifically is like, it goes way back. It goes like 1699, I think. You see you see the signs all over the place. I mean, that's pretty
good chunk of change.
Yeah, it's pretty far back there, and all the settlers. And then it leads to what we have today, which is all the different mixing of cultures from, like you say, French to the Indian culture that was from here to Vietnamese obviously way later, but like you just got so many different things. That's all the Slavic people that came over and then still have all their own little, the French club in Biloxi, the Slavonian Lodge. I mean, everybody still kind of participates in that to keep that heritage alive. And that's one of the things, in my opinion, that makes the Gulf Coast so cool. So I didn't know the DMR was a part of keeping that alive and growing it.
We have the people, I call it, we have the people part, and then we have the water part. So in 2016, we kind of rebranded the heritage area, and a part of that rebrand was the creation of the nature-based tourism management plan for coastal Mississippi. And that was released 2016. And a part of that was the establishment of our blueways. So we have currently 18 blueways that we have across the coast. And we do our best to try to promote those blueways through signage. So if you might have seen them on the roads, and they'll point towards certain blueways that you can, kayak and get on the waterways. That's also on our Coast National Heritage Area, our website, those blueways. We also have the business part of it. The business recognition part is our Gulf Coast Outpost program.
Okay.
So it's really targeting nature-based tourism businesses. And at some point, we realized, and we did have a task force that worked to pull this management plan together. So it just wasn't us sitting around the office deciding that, hey, let's do something, for the fun of it. And these small businesses were struggling a little bit. And so we were just trying to help bring in a Gulf Coast Outpost certification. So it kind of gave them some business training, whether that, if they're going to talk about the history and heritage of the area, or coastal resources, let's give them some training that would help them with their elevator speech when they're working, and then get them more familiar. And then, kind of creating that good housekeeping seal. So when people in the area that are visiting or locals and they see a Gulf Coast Outpost, they will know that, they've kind of been vetted through a certification program.
Good deal. Yeah, that's cool. That way, like you say, people know how to explain what they're talking about. There's so much heritage around here that it's like, I'm sure y'all stay pretty busy.
We do. Yeah.
I didn't realize it, man. It's like every time we do these DMR episodes,
you learn more.
I learn more. And then I definitely didn't expect us to veer off from, I kind of, all the other surprises made sense, but this is something I had no clue that the DMR was a part of. So
yeah,
very, very cool to know that y'all are out there doing that and helping preserve everything.
Yeah, we have fun. I think my staff, when I walk in and I'm like, why don't we work on this, or let's expand this? And they're like, oh, can we just finish this first?
We're still working on that.
Because we also take part in the National Park Service, their passport program. So if you're familiar with national parks, some of them have passports that you can go to each national park and get a stamp.
Okay.
So National Heritage areas, just like lighthouses, they have that. And so National Heritage areas have their own passport that they can go in and get stamped. We have over 20 locations across the 6 coastal counties. And it's funny because people will come in and this is just a worldwide thing. I mean, we've had people from all over the world come in and ask for their stamp. And we've learned the hard way that, we let them stamp their own stamp.
Because they want
a certain way.
They want it the certain way. The paper's got to be a certain way. The stamp has to sit a certain way. And we're okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't need that pressure.
I've
got enough pressure
I got
in
too
my
much
life
on my plate right now to worry about this stamp.
Absolutely.
It reminds me of obviously regular passports. People do that with countries that they go to, but then people that camp. Every state that they go to, a lot of times they'll like to get a stamp on their camper or something like that to signify where all they've been.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's in the works in the future for our blueways. That if you kayak one of our blueways,
that'd be cool.
You'll definitely have people
stamps.
interested in getting all those stamps.
Oh yeah, and we just completed. We have a great girl that just hired on. She's actually been here a year. Chelsea Prince, and she decided that one of the things I wanted to do was have a passport book, just like you would go out of the country and have a passport,
right?
So people could go around and get the stamp in their book. And so that was one of the things that she just finished up was our first ever passport, and we can't keep it.
I was going to say
it's constant
flying off the shelves.
It's weird how if somebody's into something like that, just that little kind of novelty item like that, it's almost like baseball cards for baseball fans. They're just, you get sucked into it and it's collectible and people, they're sought after.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, if people want to stay up to date with the things that your office is doing specifically, I already dropped a link to your Facebook page. Is there anywhere else we could send them to if they want to get involved with some of the stuff that y'all are doing or just stay up to date with what y'all are doing?
Yeah, sure. We have our Facebook. We are on Instagram.
Okay.
And then a lot of information just about our programs and is our website.
Okay.
So that's I think there may even be a link on our Facebook to our website.
Do you know?
If you know the Coast National Heritage Area.
Okay.
I think if you Google that should be the first one that comes up.
Okay. We'll definitely check that out. I've got, like I say, there's already a link in the comments there to get you to the Facebook page, but go check it out. Y'all are doing a lot of cool things there for sure. Stuff that we didn't know about. So, go check them out, man. That's very important. I know for the heritage side of things. I know that's why we do this podcast is to help promote the Gulf Coast. And we've had some of the old time charter boat captains on before to get those stories. We had the guy that was born on Deer Island on the show just to kind of like an oral history of these stories before you can't hear them anymore.
Oh yeah, and that's like if you know Mike Moore who does the Biloxi shrimp tour.
Oh yeah,
he's been on the show.
Yeah. We helped restore his boat.
Oh really? The sailfish.
The old wooden boat.
Yeah, we actually went out on that on the sailfish and shot a little fishing video catch.
White trout.
Yeah, we caught them and then we went right over to the filling station and fried them and ate them.
Oh, I have a park service coordinator. We took her. She wanted a site visit, and so we took her out there, and she still talks about that. Of course, her shrimp grows.
Yeah, right. That's how
catching shrimp this big.
I know, right?
That's how you know you were there if you're lying about
it.
That's right.
So, well, look, thank you so much for stopping by today. We always enjoy the DMR episodes for sure. So, people, if you're watching, click that link. Go check out their Facebook page and give them a follow. Thanks everybody for watching on the live. And if you, what do you got? I guess, do we have any more before the new year?
That's the last one. Yeah, looking for a guest for second to be the first one of the new year.
25. So, wow, it's crazy how fast that year went by, huh?
Done.
Anyway, well, go download the Brownwater Banter app. If you haven't already done it, you can stay up to date with all the stuff that we're doing here on the show. It's free in the App Store and on Google Play. And like Joey said, January 2nd, it'll be the first episode of the new year. We're looking forward to it, kind of implement some new things and see if we can keep growing the show. Thank y'all for all the support this year in 2024. It's been a really good year for Brownwater for us between the two tournaments that we had, the Bay Rat Bash and Sheepshead Showdown, both went off with without a hitch this year with a lot of support. All our merch, man, everybody supporting Peter Anderson and stuff like that. So really means a lot to us. And we just want to say thank y'all. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year.
Stay safe.